Maybe you're a Ferrari acting like a bicycle. You're high maintenance but pretending to be low maintenance and then wondering why people aren't able to maintain you. Yaho, it's Wisty here, and today we're gonna venture into why you gotta own being a Ferrari and stop pretending otherwise. Now, before you begin, let's get one thing straight. This is not a video about Ferraris being better than bicycles because if you think about it, bicycles are pretty awesome. They're practical, simple, affordable, low maintenance, and Ferrari has its own strengths. Bicycle has its own strengths too. The problem isn't being either one. The problem starts when a Ferrari spends its entire life trying to convince people it's a bicycle. Now that is soul consuming. Imagine this someone walks into a bicycle store, they're looking for a bicycle. That's what they want. That fits their lifestyle. That's what they have the space for. That's what they can maintain. And then in this corner, there's this one Ferrari that goes, me, I can be a bicycle. Look, I can go slower. I can take up less space. I can pretend I don't need premium fuel. I can ignore my engine. I can lower my standards. I can be simpler as long as someone chooses me. Love the intention of wanting to be seen and chosen, but wrong execution. Because no matter how much that Ferrari tries to act like a bicycle, it still has a Ferrari engine. It still has Ferrari needs. It still requires care, attention, maintenance, quality fuel, proper handling, and someone who actually understands what they signed up for. And after a while, the Ferrari starts feeling drained, scratched up, battered, underused, misunderstood, and honestly, a little resentful. And the person who wanted a bicycle, they're confused too. Because they didn't actually want a Ferrari. They wanted something simpler, lighter, easy for them to maintain. So now both sides are exhausted. Lose lose situation. And honestly, I think this is what a lot of us do in relationships, friendships, families, workplaces, even with our dreams. We spend so much time trying to be chosen that we forget to ask whether we're being chosen for who we actually are. Because being loved for a version of yourself that doesn't exist isn't really being loved. It's being tolerated, it's being accommodated and managed, but most definitely, it's not being seen. And here's the funny thing the Ferrari can technically act like a bicycle for a little while. Maybe it drives slower, it hides its features, maybe it stops asking for maintenance, and maybe it ignores all the warning lights flashing on the dashboard. So from outside, it looks like everything's working out. But internally, things are falling apart. I think a lot of people call this being easygoing, when sometimes it's actually self abandonment. And those things can look very similar from the outside. There's a difference between I'm okay with this and I'm not okay with this, but I'm scared you'll leave if I say something. There's a difference between compromise and shrinking. There's a difference between growth and self erasure. How many times have you lowered your maintenance cost just to make someone feel comfortable? Huh? How many times have you convinced yourself you don't need reassurance, you don't need support, affection, you don't need rest, you don't need boundaries or appreciation or help when deep down you absolutely did? And the thing is, those needs don't disappear, they just get buried deep down. And eventually, they surface up again as resentment, burnout, frustration. Sometimes you feel unseen and unimportant, feeling like nobody understands you. But maybe nobody understands you because you've spent years hiding yourself. I know that's a little uncomfortable to hear, but think about it. If every time you need something you say you're fine, how is anyone supposed to know you aren't? If every time you're hurt you minimize it, how is anyone supposed to know it mattered? If every time someone asks what you want, you say, anything is fine, how are they supposed to know who you are? What are your wants, your needs? A Ferrari doesn't become easier to maintain by pretending it doesn't need maintenance, it just breaks down. And here's something we need to accept. Not everyone is supposed to maintain a Ferrari. Some people genuinely want bicycles, and that's okay. That doesn't make them bad people, that doesn't make them selfish, that doesn't make them wrong. It just means they're looking for something different. And for some reason, we take this so personally. Sometimes someone cannot meet our needs, and we immediately think, I need fewer needs. No, maybe they're just not your person. Maybe they're not your environment. Maybe they're not your audience or your community. Maybe that's not even your dream. Yes, this can be super hard to digest, but it is what it is. Not every mismatch is a failure. Sometimes it's just information, it's just data we collect. And the Ferrari doesn't need to convince the bicycle customer. We need to understand that. It just needs to wait for the person who walked in specifically looking for a Ferrari. And the beautiful thing is, those people exist. Those people are out there. There are people who love depth, who love passion, creativity, sensitivity, people who love intensity, ambition, and even your weirdness. People who love exactly the things you've been trying to hide. But they can't find you if you're constantly pretending to be somebody else. And can we talk about how exhausting it is trying to be everybody's cup of tea? Because that's just another trap. Trying to be that someone for everyone, that's a full time job. And let me tell you, the pay isn't worth it. Heck, you're not even getting paid for the overtime. Someone wants you quieter, someone wants you louder, someone wants you softer, someone wants you tougher, someone wants you more emotional, more ambitious, less ambitious. At some point, you realize there's no winning that game. The only thing left to do is be yourself and let the right people self select you into their lives. The right people are not scared by clarity, the right people are relieved by it. If someone wants a Ferrari, they know what they're signing up for. They know it needs proper care, they know it needs attention, they know it's not a casual, I'll figure it out later situation. And if they realize they don't have what it takes to maintain it, that's okay too. That doesn't automatically make them a bad person, it just means they're not the right fit. And this is the part I really want to emphasize. If someone realizes they can't maintain you, you don't need to turn it into a rescue mission. You don't need to teach them how to maintain you. You don't need to beg them to understand you. You don't need to reduce yourself until they can finally keep up. Sometimes the most loving thing is simply, okay, I see this isn't aligned and I appreciate what we had. I'm leaving with love. That's it. No villain, no dramatic courtroom speech, both parties trying to explain where they're coming from, none of that. No shrinking, sorry, no shrinking yourself until the relationship finally works. Just honesty. Because forcing incompatibility will always cost someone their authenticity. And usually the person paying the price is the one who keeps shrinking. So let me ask you something. Where in your life are you acting like a bicycle? In friendships, in relationships, at work, in your family, online, creative work? Where are you pretending to need less than you actually need? Where are you pretending not to care? Where are you pretending to be chill when something actually matters to you? And stop listening to people who go like, bro, it's not that deep, chill out. No. Sometimes and usually it always is that deep. So, yeah, where are you pretending to be okay with crumbs because asking for more feels scary? That's the bicycle costume. And maybe it helped you survive at some point. Maybe being low maintenance kept the peace. Maybe being easygoing kept people around. Maybe shrinking felt safer than risking rejection. I get you, I really do, but survival mode is not the same as self expression. And eventually, the Ferrari inside you will start making noise. You'll feel drained, unseen, you'll feel misunderstood. You'll feel like people only love the edited version of you. And that's your cue. That's your cue to stop negotiating your own nature. Not to become arrogant, not to become demanding, not to expect everyone's world to revolve around you, but to become honest. Honest about your energy, honest about your standards, your needs, your emotional depth, honest about the kind of care you give and the kind of care you need in return. Give your time and energy to people who are actually looking for you. Not the watered down version of you, not the easier to handle version, not the version that never asks for anything. The real version, the version that laughs maniacally, feels deeply, needs honesty, values effort, wants real connection, presence, wants reciprocal energy and effort, and stop trying to be anybody for everybody. Let me repeat that. Stop trying to be anybody for everybody. Because the moment you try to be someone for everyone, you slowly stop being yourself. And the people who are meant for you, they won't need you to become smaller in order to fit in. They'll be like, oh, this is who you are, cool. I can meet you there. That's energy, that's mutual recognition, mutual care and effort, mutual maintenance. Not one person is constantly shrinking while the other person stays comfortable. So, again, stop trying to act like a bicycle while being a Ferrari. I don't care if you can act like a bicycle. I don't care if you've mastered being easy. I don't care if everyone praises you for never asking for much. If it costs you your authenticity, your energy, your presence, your joy, your expression, or your emotional honesty, don't. Just don't. You're not here to spend your whole life auditioning for spaces that were never meant for you. They weren't built for you. You're here to be fully, unapologetically yourself. You're a Ferrari. Own it, drive it, celebrate it for what it is, and let the people who genuinely appreciate Ferraris find you. Alrighty, I'm gonna leave you with that. Bye bye. I love you. And until next time, keep adding a little of your magic to the small things.